Hey YouTube, this is Jeremiah from New Life Counselling. Hope you're doing well wherever you're at today. Hey, we just finished talking about in the last video the difference between introverts and extroverts. Now, what's the whole point of that? Well, again, as I mentioned in the last video, the purpose of that is to build relationship. But this is a video for those, maybe potentially more specifically the introvert side, but it's also for the extrovert side as well. Because what we're talking about today is how to have a friend. Hey, before we continue on, make sure please to click like and subscribe. I know it's told in every video you've ever seen in YouTube land, but it really does make a difference. And it also gives you a chance to see when new videos come out. All right, let's get going. How to make a friend. Well, the extrovert might be going, if that's you, going, I've got lots of friends. Yeah, great. But are they deep, intimate, fully connected? They've got your back no matter what. 3 a.m. call in the morning, my tire is blown. I don't know what to do. It's minus 40. I'm in Canada, so that can happen, and actually has happened to me. Who's gonna come out and help me? What do you do? All right. See, you might be a raging extrovert, but if you don't have that close, connected friend group, I don't know. It could be a shallow level friendship. Vice versa, you could be so introverted on this way spectrum that you're just like, I can't talk to anybody. Okay, I'm super shy. Often a sign of introversion. Can be a sign for some other things too, but that's for a different video. But the point is that either way, whatever you fall, introvert, extrovert, ambivert, that's the person in the middle, all right, a little bit of both. You need to have deep, quality, intimate, connected relationships because we are all wired for connection. So how do you have a friend? How do you actually make a friend? How do you tell the difference? What do you know? Well, there's a couple different things that, we could talk about. But one of the ways I like to describe it is more of a visual perspective, okay? And it's more like a bullseye, all right? So if you think of if you're playing bow and arrow, you always want to hit the center of the target. So think of like the center of a target, okay? And then you have your next level, they'll have like 100 points in the center, 75, 50, 25, 10, 5, until nothing. Oh, look, you hit your friend in the head. Bad mistake, if you're playing darts or something like that, okay? So, how do you make a friend? Well, one of the ways to make a friend is to first of all recognize, even if you have or don't have friends, where that individual is held within your life. See, many people think, oh, I've got all of these friends. And you think, oh, they're in the center of my life. And yet it turns out that they're not actually there. You think they're there, but they're not. And that can create an unsafe situation, a false sense of security, kind of like, this thing you might have heard called Facebook. And, it's like, oh, look at all my friends. Yeah, well, let's see what happens if you have to move real quickly. And you call on your Facebook friends and let's see who actually shows up to help you move. And it might very quickly let you know who actually is your friend. Okay, with that being said, what is up with the center? The center is what I call the person that I feel the most connected with. It could be, it should be your partner. Maybe it's a mom or a dad or parents, but sadly, sometimes that's not always the case. Maybe it's a brother or a sister. Maybe it's someone I've known since childhood and we're like blood brothers. We do everything together. They're my BFF, and that is, they know everything about me. I know everything about them. That's that person in the center. And, the more technically we have in that, technically the safer of friendships. See, what we're talking about, there's a couple different names for it. All right. One of the terms is a circle of safety. All right. This is a term actually that comes from social work, actually. They call it a circle of safety. And the more people I have in the center, the more safety I have within and surrounding my life. Because if I do have a flat tire, the more in the center, I can call it the 2-3 in the morning. They will come out and give me a hand with whatever I need to do, especially if it's like an emergency or life-threatening situation. The next level outside of that circle, though, they're what I often call very close friends. They're often people that are actually often do fit what I call the best friend category. They're people that know everything about us, but maybe not everything. All right, maybe they know some parts of us, but they know other parts of us. And for those who deal with things like addictions, quite often that's where they'll discover, oh yeah, they're in my center. No, actually they're in the next realm because they don't know about my addiction. They don't know about this issue or this challenge that I have. So I would put them on that next layer, all right? But here's the thing. They're a person still that I could call on for help and support if I needed that, to be able to allow me to help out, especially, again, if it's a safety situation within that circle of safety. All right. Outside, the other people that can be there, that is also where parents could be. It's also where maybe siblings, a brother or sister, or both could be in as well. Maybe a good aunt, an uncle, grandparents, that kind of thing. Everyone's going to be at different layers of this, and maybe sometimes not at all, depending on the safety of the individual, if they're demonstrating actions that are unsafe within a person's life. The next layer after that, so we got the center, we got sort of the next friendship group, and then we have the next layer after that. This is what I call just sort of the friend zone, okay? Another term that you could use beyond just the friend zone is like coworkers, associates, all right? These are people I see maybe at work every day. I hang out with them, I say hi to them. They know me, they know a little bit about me, they know maybe some of the issues I have, just like I might share an issue on Facebook or something, oh, I had a really bad day, whatever that might be. And, but they don't know me, maybe if I go out for lunch or if we go for a Christmas party, we might get into a little more of a intense talk. Maybe it doesn't mean that they go into the next layer, but emotionally they might go into that next layer because they know me a bit more. But this is the kind of person, I'm not necessarily going to call at 2-3 in the morning and call for help, but if I had to, I know that this person probably would. They would do the same for me. I would do the same for them because they're a coworker, they're an associate, all right? Lots of different places, such as religious settings, is where a lot of these people are as well, all right? They'll attend religious centers and stuff like that, and they'll see all these different people. Hey, how you doing? How you doing, Fran? How you doing, Jane? How you doing, Frank? But do they actually know who you are when no one's around, when no one's looking? All right. So that puts them in that sort of third category.